Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear devotees, if you remember, in the last class, we ended with the one important concept, that is renunciation versus sublimation. So I tried to explain. This is one of the important concept. Though there is a mention of clearly or explicitly about renunciation, sublimation is not explicitly it is informed, but rather it is conveyed in the prakriyas, in the spiritual sadhanas, we can say that. So just I would like to explain in more detailed way so that you can understand. So what is renunciation, if you ask me? Generally, renunciation means, from the Upanishad concepts or from Upanishad context, it is giving up attachment to objects externally and internally, or giving up attachment to the world and its objects, to the actions, and to the worldly roles, that is power, position, name, and fame. So that includes external renunciation and internal renunciation. External renunciation is mostly at the physical level, that is leaving home, wealth, and seeking, giving away the desire for name and fame, power, position, all these things. And mental renunciation is the desire for results, giving away the desire for results, dropping away the ego, ownership, and all these things. For an example, Isha Upanishad says, Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tektena bunjita magrudakkasya sviddhanam. Tena tektena bunjita. By renunciation alone, one should enjoy, they say that. So the renunciation is being told. So what does the renunciation means? So do not cling to the things externally and internally. Rather, you should cling yourself to the absolute. The same thing has been discussed in the Mundaka Upanishad also. When we have studied Mundaka Upanishad, we have tried to understand. Okay. Now, when it comes to sublimation, what does it mean? Sublimation is, here, desire is not simply suppressed, or desire is not to be given up. Because while renunciation, there can be an amount of, compulsion can be there. There can be some reluctancy sometimes. But in the sublimation, it is neither given up nor suppressed, rather it is transformed. So from this angle, I was giving that Maslow's experiment, that the children were told that for getting 2 chocolates, so the child was trying to avoid eating 1 chocolate. So that was only an example. We should not take it literally. So here, what does it sublimation? So according to the Upanishad, sublimation means instead of killing the desire, suppressing the desire, giving away the desire, instead of that, so Upanishad is trying to teach us, refine the desire, elevate the desire. That is, towards the ideal will be self-knowledge or seeking self, but for that, step by step, one has to go. That is what sublimation. For an example, in the context of Taittiriya Upanishad, Anandavalli, there Ananda Mimamsa comes. So what is that? So they give an example that, look, a person who is living healthy with all the basic comforts and good amount of wealth and other things, and he has got a good wife, good children, enough property, everything. So basically, a comfortable, full-fledged materialistic life, one who has got, and such a person is living for 100 years. So he has led his complete life. So that all the amount of happiness he enjoyed, he experienced, if you take as X, if you consider it as an amount called amount of happiness can be considered as X, then if you go to upper loka, above world, there will be 100 times more, 100x. Then if you go to Pitraloka, say for an example, you will get 100x times of happiness. Then you go to Swargaloka, you will get 100x, means the 100x of Pitraloka will be getting Swargaloka. And from Swargaloka, if you go to Brahmaloka, you will get 100x more. But the ultimate happiness is what in yourself, that is you are that, and just experience that. So the Upanishad is asking us to experience the oneself, because the my real nature, inherent nature, is what Ananda Swarupa, Sachidananda Ananda Swarupa, bliss itself. To take us, they take step by step. So this is called Arundhati Nyaya. In the marriages, the groom shows for the bride Arundhati star. So before showing, because that is in a very greater height, sometimes it is a daytime marriages happens, and sometimes because of flight it may not be able to see. So they try to show the higher maybe tree, then a building, then a maybe a mountain, something step by step. The groom tries to show for bride, and finally they try to show the Arundhati star. So the intention was to show Arundhati star, but it was step-by-step process was happened. The same thing we can see in the Ananda Mimamsa. One who is leading the comfortable life, and that amount of happiness is X. So if you should get stuck there, then you are not following the Upanishadic teaching. The Upanishadic teaching or Upanishad's interest is not to show you how much happiness you get in the world. It is only interested in making us to travel towards the self, in the self, to experience that highest happiness which is inherent in me, or which I am that. For that, they take a step-by-step process. This is called sublimation. So here the important point, one of the important thing, notice the Upanishad is not denying that there is no pleasure at all. There is no happiness at all in the worldly pleasures. There is a small amount of happiness in these worldly pleasures, means the pleasure derived from the experiencing or enjoying the worldly objects. But the more and more you go to subtle things or subtle objects or subtle worlds, even the joy also becomes more and more intense and subtle. So finally, the highest happiness you'll get is what in the self, and you are that, or I am that. So this is what I mean sublimation. So it is an expansion. The sublimation is what the expansion, not the repression. Why? Because the thought process here is Ananda, bliss, is not a sensory pleasure, and it is not emotional happiness. Rather, it is not even the heavenly joy or enjoyment. Rather, it is the intrinsic nature of the Brahman, and I am that Brahman. So I am the embodiment of infinite bliss. The bliss is inherent in me, but I am searching elsewhere. So instead of saying giving, renunciation say give up these worldly pleasures because they are inferior in nature. But the Upanishad, from the context of sublimation, it says that understand the pleasure, the nature of pleasure deeply, trace it to its source, and transcend it. So this is one of the very radical insight which has given from Upanishads, according to me. So this is the theory of sublimation is quite interesting. So instead of giving up, we are elevating our desires. Sri Ramakrishna tells when a beautiful thing. How much ever we try, we get ego. Somehow the ego creeps into our mind. So hence, we can spiritualize our egos. How to spiritualize? I am a devotee, or I am the servant of God. I'm the servant of gods, like that they tell in the Bhakti Shastras. So you can spiritualize even the ego also. Sri Ramakrishna tells that. Now I want to eat chocolate. I want to enjoy the worldly objects. Fine. So enjoying the worldly objects is not our goal, rather because the happiness which we get from that is what our interested. So then the Upanishad says that analyze it, you get some amount of happiness called X in the complete ideal worldly life, no doubt, but there is a higher amount of joy in the higher worlds. Why don't you seek? Okay, then seeking, trying, then they say, okay, there's a higher, still higher, my dear, go ahead. Still higher. Finally, then they end up in saying that you are searching that happiness either in the mundane world or in the heaven or in the above worlds, my dear. But that is only your reflection. The real happiness or the infinite bliss, infinite happiness is in you, which is inherent in nature. So seek it. To start with, seek it, and afterwards they say, don't seek it. They see it or experience it. So that is, I mean, sublimation. So this is the ideal of Upanishad according to me. I'm not saying that renunciation is not there in the Upanishads. It is there, but sublimation is given more importance actually. So this is also quite interesting. We should try to understand. Renunciation is good, no doubt, but theory of sublimation is much more refined, much more better. So I can live in the world, but still, in spite of living in the world, I need not to give away the world, but give away the worldliness. Why? Because they give some amount of happiness, no doubt, but along with that, some problem also comes. So instead of seeking this little happiness, let me seek the highest happiness. What is that? Seeking the highest happiness, maybe in the heaven to start with. But the Upanishads takes us in the journey and they ask us to end ourselves like seeking oneself, because that is the where the highest happiness is available. So this is one of the very important teaching of the Upanishads. We should try to inculcate in our life, and we should try to develop this attitude. The theory of sublimation, we should try to practice. All right, let us come to the today's what you say discussions. And if you see the greatness of the Guru and Shishya was discussed in the earlier classes. Now we will try to discuss the continuation. Na samparaya pratibhati balam pramadyantam vittamohena modham ayam loko nasti para iti mani punah punarvasham apadyate me. So this is the first chapter, second subchapter, second canto, and the sixth verse actually. If someone is following the text, for them 1.2.6 basically. Now, why scriptures does not appeal to many? For example, if there is a class on some materialistic thing, probably many would have joined. Now the Vedanta class is happening and all. When we say, many people are not interested. Oh, Vedanta class, Katha Upanishad, Swami is taking. All right, not interested. Okay. And people say, oh, you see, I am busy. Oh, I don't have a time. All such things they say. Why? Because they are not interested. Sometimes definitely people are not free. They cannot make it, no doubt. But if not all time, most of the time they say that they give blame excuses. Oh, Swamiji, I want to attend your class, but I don't have time. I'm busy. Once or twice, fine. But all the time are we busy? That means it is other way of saying that I am not interested in your Vedanta. I am not interested in your spirituality. Yes, here in the sixth verse, Yama is giving a beautiful analysis why people are not interested in spirituality, why people are not interested in Vedanta, why people are not interested in self-knowledge. When I was small, when I was young, I didn't know the difference between religion and spirituality. Many people, hundreds of people, like recently we had a Shivratri. During Shivratri, hundreds of people went to temples with all, many were fasting, many, what do you say, they had standed, I mean, they were standing in the queue to have the darshan of Lord Shiva for hours sometimes. Probably if you ask me, I don't have so much devotion where I cannot stand for hours together to have the Lord Shiva's darshan. I say from here only I still offer my pranams. I don't want to go and stand in that long queues. I can't afford that. If you ask, then are you not devoted unlike the devotees? If you ask, I say no. But what is their intention? With all due respect, mostly it is religious in nature. So they go and they stand in queue. Sometimes some of them they'll be trying to do japas, chanting, and if not all, either they'll be scrolling the screens or they'll be talking, chatting, all the type of chattings they do, and they go and a minute or two or three, they go and just they will have a darshan, then come back and eat prasad. And if they have got a tap, they will wash their hands. Otherwise, they will wipe their hands on the pillars and they come back. And they say, we had a wonderful darshan of Lord Shiva. No doubt it is good, no doubt. But that's where our religious minded there. And when we go there, we offer some two bananas and some coconut or flowers or something, and we give a big list. Let me be healthy. Let my wife be healthy. Children be healthy. Kith and kin be healthy. Siblings be healthy. I want promotion. All a big list of desires they give. And praying to God and to fulfill it is not bad. I'm not saying anything bad about, but it is mostly people go to the God either Arthi or Artharthi. Because I'm in stress, I'm in problem, I'm going to God. Or because I want to fulfill some of the things, so I am going to him. Instead of going to someone else, I am going to God. That is better, no doubt. But one who wants God and God alone, one who is going to God, that I want you and you alone, so I am coming to you, they're very rare in nature. That is what spirituality. So why spirituality is rare? Why very few people come to satsangs and Vedantic talks and all? Why? If you ask, here he is telling because people are infatuated with the worldliness. So living in the world is not the problem. When the world is in your mind, means when the worldliness is in you, then only the problem is. Because of worldly mindedness, people are not interested in the scriptures or in the Vedantic talks. And they're deluded. They're indiscriminate. What is right, what is wrong, what is inferior, what is superior, what is good and what is best. They don't discern, they don't discriminate. They don't use their discernment power. Instead, simply they follow mob psychology. For them, the world is real and spirituality maybe once in a while like a tonic or a neem juice. Neem juice is very good for our health. We all know that, or like a bitter gourd. But once in a while we take, but otherwise it is not so. Why? Because for them, world is more real, most real than the God and the spiritual. I always keep saying that. How our Vedantic journey starts actually. If you see, first, the world is the real and self, God, and all. I don't know whether they exist or not. Very crude way of materialistic mindset. Then, world is real. I think there is something called God, some power is there. Yes, no doubt. There is higher power is there. Most of the devotees, most of the people to start with it will be there. Then afterwards, world is real, God is real. Both are real. But my importance to the world is more, no doubt. This is the little higher form. Mostly devotees come, most of the devotees. I'm not saying any one of you. You are all good people, no doubt. You are more better. But mostly the devotees will come in this category. Then after going ups and downs, we start thinking, world is maybe real, but it is temporary. I think God is more real. God is better. Self is better. Little higher. Refinement in our character, refinement in intellect. Then slowly, if you go further studying and doing japa, meditation, other things, by refinement in the mind, we start analyzing and understanding. I think world is just a playground. Our world is like a Swapnavat, as Mandukya Upanishad says. It is a dream like self alone is real, it appears. It appears, not yet convinced, it appears. Then after some more experiences and experiencing the ups and downs in the life, we feel yes, self and self alone is real, self or God alone is real, the world is not. This is what our Vedantic journey actually of every human being, individual, every human being has to pass these stages. Why? For them, the world is real. That is the reason they are not interested in the spirituality or in the Vedanta that has been told. Why, if you see, the world is real, well, the world is real or unreal when you say the world is real or unreal or appearance, mithya. How do I say the world is real? Many of us, we don't discuss, we don't analyze very interestingly. So once just I was analyzing, world is real or world is unreal. Scriptures are saying fine, but how do we come into conclusion, keeping the scriptures away? Then when I was thinking it, I got an interesting understanding that it is based on our experience. It is based on sense data available. The world is what? World is a mixture of events. World is a mixture of atmosphere. World is a mixture made up of objects for us. When I'm eating a chocolate and when I'm experiencing it, or when I'm eating a bitter gourd chutney and I'm experiencing the bitterness, because of that experience, I am saying that bitter gourd exists. And how do that I'm getting experience? Because of the sense data. Because my tongue is saying and my mind is processing it. Our intellect is processing it. So based on my sense data available, my experience is real. And based on my experience, the notion of world, the reality of the world exists or not is what we come into conclusion. Then the Vedanta asks, yes, my dear, how do you say that you are experiencing the world? Oh, because I'm experiencing. Fine, how are you? Oh, I'm experiencing through 5 sense organs of knowledge, Panchagnanendriyas. It is very good, very fine, no doubt, but so it is giving the limited understanding of the world. Rather, it is giving the distorted version, distorted picture of the world. This is what called mithya. That's what Vedanta is saying. So we never say world doesn't exist. World exists in some form, but we are thinking in some other form. World exists in a form, but we are trying to experience, or we are thinking that it is existing in B form or C form or whatever. That is what actually mithya here. Why? Because the sense organs gives the limited knowledge. Even for discussion sake, I only can give particular thing. For example, uh, an object, a sweet, is black in color. That can be told by the eyes. Now, ears cannot tell that. The skin cannot tell or it cannot give the impression or knowledge that the sweet is black in color or white in color. Only I can give it. Then I took a scoop of the sweet and I am tasting it. Oh, it is delicious. It is so sweet, it's so beautiful, delicious, that only can be told by our one more sense organ, tongue, but never by the eyes nor by ears. So they are limited in nature. They can only do the limited functions, and apart from that, they give only the limited knowledge of an object. So the scriptures are like life GPS. All our world is real based on our experience. So the Vedanta is asking us to question that experience. When you say that you are experiencing a sweet, what are you experiencing? I am experiencing a Mysore pak. Yes, Mysore pak you are experiencing, no doubt it is a sweet, no doubt. But what are you experiencing? Mysore pak is very delicious, you said. The deliciousness, is it belong to basin, gram flour, or for the ghee, or for the sugar or the jaggery, or for all of this? So like this, if you start analyzing it, it is quite interesting. All these things, the whole world is real. It is based on our experience. And that the nature of experience has to be analyzed, has to be questioned according to the Vedanta. So we end up saying that it gives a limited or distorted image or picture of the world according to the Vedanta. Okay, this is all one side. So these are all called Purushaya Pramana. Pramana means instruments of knowledge, which is like perception, inference, all the comparison through which we get the knowledge. Now, we need scriptures. Why do we need scriptures? because there are few things which cannot be comprehended by human sense organs. Two things. One is law of karma, cosmic law, that is called Rutham. Cosmic law cannot be comprehended by common sense organs, and not only that, Brahman or consciousness cannot be comprehended by our limited sense organs. To understand both of them, we need Apaurusheya Pramana, means which is not created by human being. So Vedas, Upanishads are not created by human beings. Rather, it was revealed to the Rishis. That's all. It was revealed. It was not composed by them. It was not created by them. So that is the reason we need scriptures. They are called life GPS. And one more thing is telling that, and such people, worldly infatuated people, they come into the grip of me time and again. Means they come again and again. The life of cycle and birth, the birth and death, they will be in that whirlpool time and again. They think that they are very intelligent. They think that they are very wise. Yet from the worldly point of view, it may be, but from spiritual point of view, they are quite ignorant. Why? Because they are indiscriminative people. From spiritual point of view, they are the kindergarten people, you can say. This is the whole, idea of the sixth shloka. Shravanayapi bahubir yona labhya, shunvantopi bahavo yamna vidyuhu, ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha, ascharyo gnata kushalanu shishtaha. So now we can pat our back ourselves how we are really fortunate people, because very few fortunate people get the chance to hear about the Vedanta or to hear about the God or about the self knowledge. Right? Shravanayapi bahubir yona labhya nalabhya. For many, even the word Atman is not available for listening to many. They were never heard about this consciousness or the Brahman and the Atman and all. They've never heard at all. Then Shunvantopi Bahavo Yamna Vidyuhu. Very few people have heard, might be. Among them, most of them, they don't understand even. And very few understand somewhat. And among those understand, the people who have understood, very few, very few will feel like, okay, I should try to understand what does it mean. I should make an attempt to understand, to experience it. Very few people, they think this. And among them who think that we should try to understand, among them, very few will have a serious approach and they will experience it. So for us, I think 2 or 3 boxes are being ticked. First is, we have heard about Atman and Brahman. Yes. Second, we have understood to some extent, no doubt. Third, we have got a desire to experience the Brahman or the God. That is the reason, more or less, most of you are regularly attending the class. So the 3 boxes are being ticked. The 4th box has to be ticked, that intensifying the spiritual hunger or Vedantic hunger. Let me experience who am I in this life alone. Whether I will come or not in the next birth, whether I will take birth or not, what will happen, I do not know. I need not to bother. Recently, someone was asking. I told this. See, now my mind has come. I mean, after studying quite a good amount of Vedanta, now I am not bothered whether I will have a one more birth or not. Now I don't seek or I don't even pray to the God that let this be the last birth. Even if may have to take 10 births or 20 births, I don't bother. My concern is removing the ignorance, that's all. Even I don't say that I should experience the Brahman because I am already that. Only I am praying that I should remove the misconception or wrong understanding or ignorance, which is deep rooted. That's all my prayer is today or at now. Why? Because when the moment I understand who am I, if God wills, if God wishes, or if because of my nature or because of some many other reason, I may have to take 10 births more, 20 more births, I don't bother. Because the body will be taking the birth and death, I will be with myself. I am that self, indestructible self. That state one we can reach. So that is the beauty of the Advaita Vedanta or the Upanishadic knowledge. So we should all feel happy that 2 or 3 boxes we have ticked. Fourth box has to be ticked for that this understanding and the satsangs and trying to do japa, meditation and whatnot. Why? Because Vedanta is so subtle. It is subtler than the subtlest. Calculus, analytical geometry, arithmetic, theory of indices, they are quite a difficult concepts. But Vedanta is much more difficult topic, concept than all of them. Why? Why? Because our mind is our mind objectifies everything, including Atmagnana. That's where we miss the Vedanta. If you try to objectify the Atman or Atmagnana, then it will be one more academical subject for all of us. We are not supposed to objectify it. The moment when we say, you are the Atman, when you say Atman is, how does it look like? Whether it is small or bigger in size, where it is, how it is, can I see it? All these questions comes, natural questions comes. That means I am objectifying the Atman or Brahman. In the Kenopanishad, this is one of the main teaching they tell that. Don't objectify it, claim that I am that Brahman. So, such a huge complex problem while teaching the Advaita Vedanta or the Upanishads, that will be teaching Atmagnana, teaching Atman or Brahman, the Guru should be careful that he should not objectify it, or he should make the students understand that please do not objectify the Atman just like any other objects. So that is the reason I am, what do you say, that the teacher is Ascharyo Vakta. The speaker, the guru is Ascharya, is indeed very rare. Why? Because a real teacher, only very few will be there who will not objectify the self and they'll be able to convey this idea. Ascharyo Vakta Kushalosya Labdha, Ascharyo Gnata Kushalanusishtaha. Even the students are also very unique and very rare, ideal students. Why? Otherwise, people will lose themselves in objectifying the self. Whereas very few ideal students who understand, who take pain in understanding that self should not be objectified because the self is subject always. In the whole Drukdrushya Viveka, we study this. Aham druk na drushyavat. Kadapi na drushyavat. I am the seer always and I am never the seen. Aham drushya, druk na drushya. I am the seer and seer alone. I am never the seen. Whoever has attended the Drukdrushya Viveka class, I think you can remember. So we are not supposed to objectify the Atman. So such a subtle concept is very rare. Very many people cannot understand. That say they drop by the classes. And apart from that, very few people they try to hook onto it and they try to understand, and very few understand. That's the reason Ascharyo Vakta Kushalosya Labda Ascharyo Gnata Kushalanusishtaha. The student and teacher are very unique and special who are following the pursuit of Vedanta or Upanishad. So we can pat our backs ourselves. Such a student, unique student and student and teachers are rare. That's what we can see in the 7th shloka. Na narena varena prokta yesha suvigneyo bahuda chintyamanaha ananya prokte gatiratra naste aniyanhi atarkyamanu pramanat. So here in the 8th mantra, before that just I would like to tell why this Atmagnana is very subtle than subtlest I told. One is that we should not objectify it, that's the one thing. And second thing, if you see, whatever we see, this whole mundane universe is made up of permutation and combination of 5 objects. The earth, water, air, fire and space. According to the Vedanta, the mundane universe is made up of this combination of these 5 elements: earth, water, air, fire and space. Now among them, which is grossest and which is subtlest? If you ask, very clearly most of us, we can make it out that earth is the grossest ones. Now, how do you say earth is the grossest ones? and the space is the subtlest ones. If you ask how, means it depends on, the Vedanta tries to tell that it depends on the properties. Now, earth has got 5 properties. What is that? Earth has got first property is what? Gandha. Unique property is what? Gandha, smell. Then rasa, taste. Then rupa, form. Then sparsha, touch. And shabda, sound. All these 5 properties are seen, can be seen in the earth. That's why it is the grossest form. So the properties more, it is more grosser. If the properties are lesser, they are much subtle. This is the what do you say, idea behind this. Now earth has got 5 properties. That's why it is the grossest one. So all these all been from Upanishads only. I'm telling you again. Now the next subtle compared to earth, the next little subtle is what? Water. Why? Water has got only 4 properties, except smell. It has got sound, shabda, sparsha, touch is there, then rupa is there, yes, rasa is there, but gandha is not there. But some water is foul in smell, we see that. There, some earthly element or some dirt has been added, has been mixed with that. That's the reason we get a smell. Otherwise, really, water will not get any smell according to the Vedanta. Then the little subtler is what? The fire. Why? Because fire has only 3 properties: sound, touch, and form. Then little subtle is what? Air. Because air has got only 2 properties. One is sound and the other the touch properties. Then the space is the subtlest available because it has got only one property, that is what? The sound and sound alone. And the space itself is the subtlest one because it has got only one property, that is sound, and the Atman is subtler than even this space. That is the reason it is very difficult to comprehend. Why Atma Gnana is so difficult for us? And quite interestingly, it is about myself. Now if I am trying to study about someone else, then it is difficult. But I am trying to study, or I am trying to know about myself, which is my nature. Who am I? But that itself is so complicated. Why? Because it is so subtle. Because it is subtle than the space. It has no property at all. Why? It is not an object at all. It is only subject and subject alone. It is never the object and it is the subject alone. That is why it is very difficult. And the guru, why he has been told is very rare. Why? Because the guru's character has to be 3 characters he has to fulfill. One is Brahmanishta. Brahmanishta means one who has got understood, or one who has got strong conviction that I am the consciousness, not the body and mind. The Brahmanishta. Then Shrotriya. Shrotriya means one who knows the inner spirit, inner secret of the scriptures, and one who knows the methodology, the sampradaya, the methodology, how the scriptures are using the methodology to convey the truths. That is Shrotriya. And the third is Akamahata. One who is not desiring for any, or one who doesn't have any ulterior motives in teaching. So these 3 qualities is what guru. It is in Mundaka Upanishad, but in the Katha Upanishad that has been told as Ananya. Ananya. Ananya means here what? It is unique, special. Why? One who has got these 3 characters. Now we will try to understand the 8th one. न नरेण वरेण प्रोक्त एष सुविज्ञेयो बहुधा चिन्त्यमानः अनन्य प्रोक्ते गतिरत्र नास्ति अणीयान् हि तर्क अनुप्रमाणात्. Now whatever I have discussed, based on that you can very well understand that the self is not adequately known, because when you spoken by a inferior person, when it is taught by one who has identified with it, there is no further cogitation with regard to it, because it is beyond argumentation, being subtler than even the atom. That has been told very clearly. Whatever I've discussed now, it has been told here. So Yama is glorifying the Vedantic student or Vedantic student's mindset in this 8th mantra. And also is also glorifying the teaching itself. So it is so subtle, my dear. One has to prepare their mind. One has to refine their understanding so that they can understand. Why? Because self is not an object, it is the subject itself, the first and foremost. And it is your own nature. It is your own nature. It is difficult for many of us to understand. We can understand others, but we cannot understand ourselves. For example, when someone comes with a problem, I don't know, I am getting confused, I am baffled, what to do? We give like a philosophers, we give a lecture, we give sermons, we give counseling. But the same problem, when it comes to us, we will not be able to understand many times. Even if you understand, we will not be able to practice, or we are not convinced. We will have a doubt, and again we go to someone else for some answers, seeking answers. Till yesterday, I gave so many counseling, but now I am seeking some counseling. Why? Because here the problem is with me, so I am objectively I am not able to look towards the problem, so I am not able to get the solution also. So in the worldly thing, with the worldly things, we have to have an objective outlook. But when it comes to self, here there is no objective outlook. It is subjective outlook, or rather, it is a subject outlook. But we are mixing it. In the world, we are using subjective outlook, and with the self, we are using objective outlook. We are just using a opposite ones. So that has been told in the eighth one. नैषा तर्केण मतिरापनेय प्रोक्ता अनन्यैव सुविज्ञेय प्रेष्टा यां त्वाममाप सत्रुतिर्बतासे त्वादृङ्नो भूयान् नचिकेत पुष्टा. So here the knowledge cannot be attained by reasoning. The Yama is telling very clearly. Why? It is very difficult to comprehend. And but O Nachiketa, you are with a very strong, determined one. You are a resolute one. So you will be able to understand this, the self, or rather, you will be able to experience it. And I let me have more and more students like you. So Yama indirectly is telling you are one of the best student, my dear Nachiketa. You are the Uttama Adhikari. And first he is telling Atma Jnana or self-knowledge cannot be understood by logical reasoning. Why Atma Jnana, self-knowledge, cannot be understood by logical reasoning? Because the logical reasoning, how it is been done, the logical reasoning, for example, today I am seeing quite a good amount of Indians are coming here to do the masters here. Masters in what? The data management. So they collect the data, they verify it, and afterwards they give to the company what it is. So there is a data verification. Data management courses is one nothing but collection of data and verifying it, and based on that they will bring the logical reasoning, logical evidences, reasonings, or conclusions or whatever. But everything is based on what? Perceptual data. Okay. But science is also based on nothing but data available, and it is objectifying the truth, no doubt. But now consciousness is subject, so there is no perceptual data at all on the consciousness. So every means of knowledge can only function in its own field with the presence of data. Hence, so Atman or the Brahman or the consciousness is not available for logic at all, because there is no sense data available at all. So empirical science is dealing with an Atman actually, and the spiritual science, that is Vedanta, is discussing or is dealing with the Atman or the consciousness actually. Recently, one person was asking, one of the professor, he was saying, Swamiji, do you think that with the AI and quantum mechanics, quantum physics, or whatever, with all these things, can we reach the consciousness? Can we understand the consciousness? I said, no. Why? Because your basic maxims, basic axioms are itself flaw. I'm not saying wrong, but they're flaw. Why? Because everything is measurable for them. Everything should be object, because everything you are objectifying it, and the Atman is subject alone, so you cannot do that. And finally, is the professor in quantum mechanics and physics. He said, Swamiji, today we are telling that the real quantum we cannot explain. The moment we explain the quantum, it either become the particle or it becomes the wave. Really, what it is, the quantum means, we cannot say, we are unable to explain. He was telling. It was quite an interesting discussion. So science is objectifying the truth, whereas the Vedanta is saying that the self is what the subject, you can never objectify it. That's what Naisha Tarpena Matirapaneya. So this wisdom you cannot get from the logical reasoning. Then how you can get? You only can get through the Prokta Ananyeva Sugnanaya Preshta. You can get only through from the good teacher or ideal teacher. One who has got a conviction, one who has got the one who knows the methodology of this teaching, one who doesn't have any ulterior motive. Such a person, when he teaches, when he explains about the self-knowledge, you can get the knowledge. Otherwise, it is not possible. So today we have got YouTubes, today you have got Google, you got ChatGPT and all. Probably this Upanishad, if you put it to ChatGPT, it might give better analysis, no doubt. Some of you might understand, but not completely. You may land into more and more confusions, more and more mistakes. Say for an example, I can give one of example. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan atmasya jantor nihato guhayam. Like that one sloka comes. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan. The self is like, it is smaller than the atom and it is bigger than the biggest. It is completely opposite. It is like tautology. How a thing can be, how self can be smaller than the atom or even photons, neutrons, electrons. It is smaller than even electrons, photons, neutrons, and it is bigger than the Himalayan mountain or bigger than the galaxy. How is it possible? It is a tautology. It is impossible. Against logic, reasoning. I think that Rishi had lost his mind. That's the reason he's telling. We may land into that conclusion. So there the Rishi's intention is to make us understand that, my dear, don't objectify it. Because it is, the self is never the object, it is only subject. So we cannot explain in our normal language. It cannot be really explained. To make us understand, they are putting the pair of opposites at a given point of time. Now, this only the gurus will be able to tell. When you go through the proper method, the teachers who knows this methodology, they will be able to convey them. Otherwise, you land into more and more confusions, technical confusions, or philosophical confusions you will land into. So, Tvadrang no bhuya nachiketa pushta. I desire, I seek more and more disciples like you because you are one of the ideal student. You have got a control of mind, control of sense organs, and the power of discernment. Viveka buddhi is well developed in you. Because when he tried to tempt with so many things, I will give this gold, animals, and so many different types of wealth. He said no. In the next sloka, they will tell that even Brahma Padavi, Hiranyagarbha Padavi, the creator God, even that post was offered by the Yama to Nachiketa. Nachiketa said, no, I don't need. So such an amount of vairagya, dispassion towards the worldly pleasures Nachiketa had. That's why he was the ideal student. That's the reason Yama is praising him. So this is one of the life lesson for all of us. So this whole journey is what? Preparation for ourselves. If when someone asks, Swamiji, how much time it will take for me to realize I am that Brahman? If you ask me, I will tell it is a spur of moment. Just like Chitki Odid in Kannada, we say, it is a spur of moment you will experience the Brahman. Oh, then am I understanding now? Will I experience now? I said, hold on, my dear. Before that, you have to do preparation. That preparation might take 1 life, 2 lives, 3 lives, 10 lives. I do not know. It depends on you. So the whole, just the experience or the removal of the ignorance and that just like Samadhi Brahmakara Vrutti Vital in Vedanta, just experiencing that I am that Brahman, Ahamasmi Brahma, it takes a minute, it takes a moment actually, 1 second. But to have that, we need a lot of preparation. We should have a control of mind, control of sense organs, power of discernment should be there, and seeking higher things, nothing but detachment or dispassion, or the intense desire for experiencing the Brahman. All these things are there, should be there. The more and more if you get it, then the more and more ideal student you will be, and you will be more nearer to the self, more near to that self knowledge. So all these studies and gymnastics, whatever we are doing, it is all preparation for our. It is all preparing our mind. It is all tuning the mind. It is trying to hammering the mind. When we read many times, even some of devotees they tell Swamiji, when we are hearing you Vedantic talks or your Vedantic talks and all, we feel yes, it is so true. I am the Atman or Brahman, not the body and mind. I should not care. I should not get agitated and all. But after the class, maybe little hangover will be there. Vedantic hangover will be there after some time. A phone call or when we get into the life, our work again, we land into the other problems or our mind gets agitated. So only at given point of time it is there, other time it is not there. That's how we start with. But we have to prepare our mind, we have to refine our mind, we have to purify our mind more and more so that this Vedantic hangover can be there for long time, not only during class or in between the class. In between the class, someone might be thinking about what to do next. I mean, time for dinner, so whether food is waiting for me and all. Many things can happen. So is all our preparations. So this is what actually here also the Upanishad is preparing us actually. In few shlokas, the real teaching of the Vedanta starts in the Katha Upanishad. All these things are preparing, keeping the Nachiketa as a nimitta. So Yama is preparing our mind, a seeker's mind, so that we can understand and comprehend the Upanishadic knowledge. So it is all preparation. We have to prepare. That's what our spiritual practice or Vedantic practice is. Om Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. Yeah, anyone, if you have got any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Swamiji, I keep contemplating often ಶರಣಾಗತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಜವಾಗ ಟ್ರೂ ಶರಣಾಗತ how one should be. Complete surrender ಅನ್ನೋದು how do you define it?
See, according to me, Sharanagati, the self-surrender, when it can come, when we feel really the helplessness, when we really feel we are helpless, or when we understand the limitations of our senses and intellect, then only the real surrender comes. Sri Ramakrishna gives a very simple, beautiful example. A bird was resting on the steamer. While resting on the steamer, it dozed off. It slept. It was tired. The bird was tired. It slept off. Then in some time the steamer started its journey. The bird was so tired without any conscious. It was sleeping for a long time, a few hours you can say. Then when the bird awoke, then it saw the right all the four directions. There is only water. Obviously, bird was a bit worried. Then the bird flew in the eastern direction. It tried to fly, but everywhere water. There is no other way. Then it came back. It was tired. It came back and again it started resting on the steamer. After some time, it thought, okay, let me try in other direction. It went in a western direction. How much ever is possible, it tried. Then again water alone. Then it came back again. Then after some hours, it went in northern direction. Only water again. It came back. Then the southern direction, it went again, only water, sea, ocean. So it came back and decided now, wherever this steamer is taking me, let me go there. And it was waiting for after a few days, it went to one dock. So there he saw the land and the bird flew and it started happily enjoying the place and eating its food or trying to find his friends or his own species or whatever. He gives this one example. So like this, it tried in the eastern direction, western direction, northern, southern, all these directions, and it felt it got exhausted and it said, more than this, I can't do anything. When that real helplessness it comes, when I really find my limitations of my senses and the intellect and other things, then only the real surrender can come. Otherwise, when we feel difficulties, when we face difficulties, when we face adverse circumstances, we tell everything is God's will. Sab Rame Richa, everything is Rame Richa, we tell. But when I can do things, then I will tell, I think I can do. So this real helplessness has to come, or the understanding the limitations of our intellect and sense organs can come. When it comes, then the real surrender comes. Till then, it is once in a while it comes, it creeps in, no doubt. Otherwise, it is only lip service. It is not real, complete surrender, I wish to say.
Thank you, Swami.
Yeah.
If I may, like there is a podcast from Vedanta and Yoga from Boston from Swami Tyagananda on the same topic. If you want to listen, I can send a link. It's also very nice.
You're telling me?
Yeah, it's sent in the
Oh,
chat. You can
okay.
hear
Yeah,
whenever you.
sure.
But it's basically what just Swamiji said. It's just elaborated exactly on the same thing.
Okay. But there is no way to cross-check that we are really Sharanagata.
It is there. So according to me, one of the yardstick can be called Prasada Buddhi. Prasada Buddhi means, I think in Kannada there is a song, beautiful song, very famous song. Halalladaru haku, neeralladaru haku, hayagiruve Raghavendra. This we all sing, isn't it, with all devotion. But this is what the Prasada Buddhi I wish to say. Oh God, in whatever condition you put me, you keep me, I'll be happy. Rather, I'll be happy, rather, I'll be contented. That doesn't mean that should I not strive for to become better? Should I not strive to get more and more benefits? Should I not strive for the promotion in my workplace? No. We should try, and we should try, no doubt. But internally, there will be contentment. So are you really internally contented? Or whatever God is giving me, are you really happy with that? Yes. Then the amount of contentment you have got, so much amount of surrender is there with you. When favorable circumstances are there, we are all contented. We all either will think it is because of me or because of God's grace. As a devotee, we may think. But during unfavorable circumstances also, can I think that it is God's will? It is God's blessing. God wants to teach me something. That's the reason He's putting me into trouble. He's bringing troubles. He's putting me into unfavorable circumstances. So it is God's will. Let me accept it without any complaint. Out of helplessness, accepting is different. But without any complaining, will I accept? Can I accept? That is the yardstick for my surrender.
Okay. I have one more question. I'm not able to shape it up. Probably next week I'll put it in the right way. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, Maharaj, this is
Yeah.
Akshay. Maharaj, the first person experience we have, the qualia, is it because of a reflected consciousness or the pure consciousness, Maharaj? I have a little bit confusion regarding this.
So can you repeat once more the question?
The first person experience, the qualia, the thinking, the feeling, the experiences we do, is it because of
Oh,
reflected consciousness or the pure consciousness?
yes. That is all reflected consciousness only. Why? Because if you see, when I'm saying I am doing, I am talking, I am taking Vedanta class, or I am listening to Vedanta class, when you are saying that all, either an event, an action, an experience is involved, all these things. For that, you need mind and sense organs, or if not, at least mind alone. So it is all reflected consciousness.
The I-ness will be
Because
there.
see, the beauty is, without the presence of consciousness, no experience is possible. Of course, we need mind and sense organs, no doubt. Without consciousness, without awareness, no experience is possible. That is the substratum for every experience. But at the same time, to experience the experiencer, to be aware of the awareness, you need some help actually. It is like a tautology. I mean, I don't know whether you understood it or not. To understand, to to be the aware of the awareness, you need an instrument again. Even for the awareness, to be aware of itself, it needs an instrument.
Just like seeing, to recognize, we have eyes, we need objects to see, just like that.
Yes, that's a beautiful example. Yes, eyes can see everyone, anything and everything in the world, but it cannot see itself. It need a mirror, reflecting medium, some reflecting medium to see itself. So similarly, because of awareness, you can, you can know everything, you can understand everything. But for the awareness to be aware of, it needs some instrument.
Okay, Maharaj. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But in our day-to-day experience, whatever we are saying, that I'm aware of this, I'm aware of that, I'm aware of my emotions, I am aware of my feelings, experiences, all these things, it is all based on reflected consciousness only.
So is
Okay.
that
When
instrument?
you say I am experiencing myself, then the content will be only the self, nothing else. But in our day-to-day, in our actions and all, the content is not the self. The content is something else. Either an object or a person or an event, isn't it? By this itself, we can say very clearly whether it's a consciousness or reflected consciousness.
But in that moment, the I consciousness, we shift to that pure consciousness, we direct it to the pure consciousness to experience it.
Yes, you should hold on to that awareness. For an example, you are experiencing the hot or heat, for example, or you are experiencing the pleasurable atmosphere. Oh, atmosphere is very pleasant now. February it is more or less, I hope, it is a pleasant atmosphere in India. It is so pleasant. You are experiencing the pleasantness in the atmosphere, fine, but who is that experiencer? So generally we attach with our body and mind, actually. Body and mind and sense organs, but actually if you see, it is the experiencer through which all this experience is possible. And similarly, you saw the message and you are reacting to it. Your mind is reacting to it, no doubt. But who is aware? I am aware of my mind's reaction. So there is a very subtle difference, hair split, hairline difference, they say that. So there is a very fine difference. I am the experiencer, I am the awareness who is aware of my mental reactions. That fine splitting has to be done. Otherwise, I and mind will get mixed up, clubbed up. Then I will become mind, or my mind will become I, and the experience, we will be having experience. So in every experience, that's what Pratibodha Viditam Matam Amritatvam Vindate, in the Katha Upanishad it comes. So try to understand yourself or feel yourself, because in every experience there's a self. Either it is a pleasurable experience or unpleasurable experience, either you can say happy or sorrow. Any experience you can take, in every experience, consciousness or awareness exists, and try to hold on to that. So that's how we can try to practice Vedanta at every moment.
And this mirror that you speak, that's the intellect itself, right? Like, so to see the I we use, so the self to see, we use the intellect itself.
Yes, intellect or mind, yeah. Yes, because mind and intellect all is what manas only. So based on the functions only, it is described as either memory or ego or mind, intellect. We all based on the functions, it is a functional division. It is not the real division. It is only functional division. So it is because the mind is what is the reflecting medium, like mirror.
Yeah, I was thinking more in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, like the layers in the Kosha sense. But yes, it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, all right.